Salutations, fam. This is Arim from Haltessiagaming, and it's been a while. Um, Not gonna talk too much about that in this video, but we've got ourselves a deck profile that I played over the course of the first weekend of Photon Hypernova being legal. Um, I played a couple of tournaments and I did well in all of them. I'm pretty happy with it, but I played Chaos Max OTK. Um, yeah, I'm gonna make like the pin comment be like the matchup, the breakdown of the record and everything like that. But I played in two tournaments. I got a top 4 and I got a top 8 respectively. Um, yeah, the deck performed way better than I anticipated. And it's funny because like I didn't even go like, oh, I think this is good for the meta. I was more so just like, I feel like Chaos Max OTK is like underexplored. I want to mess around with it and develop the meta of this one a little bit. But without further ado, we're gonna hop right into this Chaos Max OTK deck profile. So to start things off, I'm playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. Yeah, it cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. That was relevant quite a few times. Also, it's really big at 4,000 attack points, so that's pretty cool. 3 copies of that. Then we've got 1 copy of Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon. This card is... I don't summon it very often, but I was glad that I played it because it did win me one of my matches because they put a monster on the board that was really big and I was like, how am I going to out this? But thankfully, Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon non-targeting effect to switching battle position turn to 0/0. And that, won me one of my matches. And then also, it's another ritual to go into. Let me actually try to like zoom in a little bit more. There we go. And then we're playing 1 copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon. The new art from the 10s. I like it. And then 2 copies of Incantation Chalice Line. I'm gonna be real. 2 copies of Chalice Line, 1 Candle. I'm not a big fan of the incantations. Yeah, I'm not like too huge a fan of it. I kind of want to replace these with what's the new card? Triple Tactics Thrust. It wasn't bad, but I do think having Thrust would be better. I'll talk a bit more about these later, but moving on. Then we have probably the main engine of the deck in regards to like setting everything up. We've got 3 copies of Dogmatica Ecclesia the Virtuous, 1 copy of Floor, and 1 copy of Maximus. So this is the main way you're going to be getting access to everything. You're going to be using Maximus's effect to send from your extra deck, and that's usually how you're setting everything up. This will make more sense when you see the extra deck, but moving on, we have 3 copies of the other cornerstone piece of the OTK. We have 3 copies of Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. This card's 0 defense and it summons itself to the opponent's board, but also if they're not playing links, this can kind of just lock them out of the game. A lot of times, like ideally, what you want to do is you want to give this to your opponent and punch it with Chaos Max to kill them. Yeah. Then the last monster in the deck, because this is a blind second OTK deck, I am playing the best card in the game. I'm playing Dino Rush with Pancratops. Not much else to say. Then we move on to the spells. I'm playing 1 copy of Bingo Machine Go. If you've seen my last Chaos Max OTK deck profile, the theory behind this deck is the same. You want to play a bunch of cards that have multiple utility, that basically cards that turn into other cards based on what you need. This is Rhoda for either Chaos Max, your ritual monster or your ritual spell, depending on what you need. Then we're playing 3 copies of Chaos Form, There were actually a couple of games where I would ritual summon twice in a turn, and typically that would, that would be me trying to like, kill the opponent. And then I'm playing one copy of Advanced Ritual Art. So we're playing 4 rituals and 4 ritual spells. Then moving on, we've got 3 copies of Nadir Servant, probably the best card in the deck. It just does the most. This is, another card that is like Rhoda. So basically, that was one of the main things about this deck, is that like that made me want to experiment with it. I was like, this deck basically has like 3 different Rhodas. So you have 3 copies of, well, I'm not playing 3 Bingo, but you have Bingo, Nadir, and this card, Extra Foolish Burial. So I'm playing 3 Nadir, 2 Extra Foolish, and 1 Bingo. And then obviously like Ecclesia that can get Maximus and, it does the same thing. And then we just have a bunch of going second cards. So we've got 3 copies of not 3, 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents, and 1 copy of Pot of Desires. I was originally playing 3, but I ended up going 2 on 1. Yeah, and then I'm playing a copy of Change of Heart. This card's kind of stupid. It's also apparently my best friend because I stayed drawing this card. I think I drew it like 5 times or something like that. And then I'm playing 3 copies of Lightning Storm. We're going to just, nuke all the back row, because back row is definitely this deck's biggest weakness. Every time I lost, it was because of back row. Then we have 2 copies of Book of Moon, 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet, and then 2 copies of Super Polymerization. And that rounds out the 40 card deck. I enjoyed playing the deck. I enjoyed the ratios. The only thing I would say that I didn't like about the deck was I do wish I had Triple Tactics Thrust. I would probably play that over the incantations. On to the extra deck. Where are you? We've got 1 copy of Almirage. This is how you're linking off Ibli most of the time. Well, this is how you're linking off Ibli if you're like going first, because you make this so that they can't crash the Ibli, right? If you go into Lingaribo, then they can crash into the Lingaribo and out the Ibli that way. A lot of times, like, I wouldn't be ending the game in 1 turn. It would typically be 1 turn of setup, and then on the following turn, I'd kill them. I mean, sometimes you do open really broken and you just kill them, but that's not super common. So that, and then we got 2 copies of Farigite. So 2 copies of Farigite. I could definitely play 1, but I was playing 2 because, very often I did find myself going into the grind game. I'll probably cut this down to 1 copy in the future, though. 2 copies of Herald of Arclight. I kind of wish I was playing 3 of this. It did come up exactly once, but, I figured 2 was enough, but I definitely will play 3 in the future. Triple copies of Elder Entity Natis. The idea was that, like, you can resolve this 3 times in a turn, so I would play 3, but I've never actually needed to do that, so what'll probably happen is I'll play one less of this and play the 3rd Herald. Then we have 2 copies of Garura. Comes up a lot. One of the best cards in the deck. Being able to send this off of Nadir is one of the big reasons why it's such a broken card. Then our Super Poly targets, we got Mud Dragon, Dragostapelia, and Starving Venom. Yeah, they all came up once. Like, they all came up at certain points. One of my favorite games was I Super Polyed my opponent's board into the Starving Venom, which gave me the tribute fodder for the Chaos Max to kill them. Yeah, because Starving Venom's level 8. Then the last card in the extra deck is 1 copy of Totally Awesome. This will make sense after you see the side deck, but some people probably already guessed why I'm playing that. On to the side deck. Get back here. So, triple copies of Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. Sometimes you need to side it in. Sometimes you need to side it in. Let's put you right there. And then we're playing 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. I cited this in a lot. Against Kashtira, it's good. Against certain branded variants, it's good. Just, a lot of decks are really search heavy. Honestly, it's good against this deck, but thankfully no one was playing it. Nobody drolled me. Well, actually, I won't say nobody's playing it. I will say that I did not get drolled, thankfully. And then 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer. Yeah, in the original build, I was maining this, but I found that it was dead a lot, so I decided to side it. So I can only bring it in. So I would bring it in against the matchups where it was relevant. This card's crazy. It is so good in this deck. As you see, based on the extra deck, I want to send cards from my extra deck to the graveyard. Being able to do this, break a board, and then like potentially get set up is very crazy. Being able to Ultimate Slayer away a Baron and then send Herald and get a search. Being able to, Ultimate Slayer away a Tear Fusion, get a draw off of Garura, really good. We've got 2 copies of Twin Twisters and a Harpy's Feather Duster. The deck's biggest weakness is back row. Yeah, like I definitely, I played against some Eldritch variants, and ultimately, like I did win all my matchups, all my matches against Eldritch, but it's definitely your biggest weakness. And then the last card is 3 copies of Evenly Matched. So, like obviously you have to give up the OTK to use this card, but ultimately, you would rather break their board and like establish something. A lot of times what I would do is I would break the board, give them Ibly, and just, pass, right? Like I won't summon Chaos Max immediately unless like I feel like I have to. And a lot of times, they'll like leave the Ibly. And even if they don't like, keep the Ibly in defense, they like switch it to attack. One of the benefits about like this variant and this like deck building philosophy is that even if you can't like punch into a 0 defense monster to kill, a lot of the times you can just like kill them by putting 8,000 points of damage on the board. In one of my matches, I think I had like double Chaos Max and then like the Dogmatica monsters on the board, and I had like 13,000 damage or something like that. But ultimately, that is the deck list. It is 40 card main deck, 15 extra, 15 side. But talking a bit more about the theory behind the deck, the gist of it is you give them Ibly and then you punch it with Chaos Max. But a lot of the times that's not what would happen. A lot of the time, realistically, what you're doing is, they go first, they set up their board. Turn 2, you're going to break their board and establish board presence. Enough board presence so that you don't die, right? And then, they'll do whatever they do on turn 3, and then you'll kill them on turn 4. That's usually how it goes. If you give them Ibly, a lot of decks, like, this cuts off so many options that it's just, like, really hard for them to, come back from dealing with it. And then, like, having all the background things, having, like, Book, Droplet, Super Poly, I found very often that like I was able to break. Was there a board that I wasn't able to break? Now I think about it. I don't actually think there was a board that I wasn't able to break. At the tournament that I got top 8 in, it's not that I wasn't able to break the board. It's that like time got called. Time got called in the main phase when I had 13,000 damage on board, unfortunately. So yeah, it's just like I should have been more mindful of time. If I would have, just went battle phase, I would have, been able to continue on, but it is what it is. Book of Moon. So in earlier builds, I was playing Book of Eclipse, but I opted to swap to Book of Moon because I found that like, I never really needed Book of Eclipse, or rather to be more specific, I never needed it to specifically be Book of Eclipse, if that makes sense. Book of Moon, like every like scenario where I would use Book of Eclipse, Book of Moon would have also dealt with the scenario. So that's why I decided to go, with the Book of Moon. I definitely didn't, regret it. And also, I do enjoy that like Book of Moon can't get ashed. When I was playing Book of Eclipse, that was never a problem. But one thing that did actually come up was, if you're made to go first, having and that's also why I'm playing less dedicated going second cards. Like, I'm not playing Darkhold, I'm not playing Raigeki. Because in the event that you have to, like, disrupt the opponent, I guess, right? Like, you're going first. You want to have cards that actually can be useful as disruptions. And like Book of Moon, Forbidden Droplet, Super Poly, they're good at breaking boards going second. But going first, they are disruptions that you can have. Obviously, like Lightning Storm stays in. Like, I'm maining Lightning Storm. It is the main answer to your deck's biggest weakness, which is back row. And there is a lot of stuff that I side out, you know, if I feel like, okay, you know, they're going to make me go first, or also like in scenarios where I see what they're doing, I'm like, okay, I want to go first. Oftentimes players actually didn't make me go first. A lot of times they, you know, would choose to still go first and, you know, just try to like, you know, set up their play and everything like that. Occasionally I would choose to go first because like I would think, okay, I'm gonna just give them Ibly and they're probably not playing it out to Ibly. In previous builds, I was playing Signet Mining and Piri Ray's map to search the Ibly. But ultimately, I decided not to do that in this build because the Ibly isn't really the win condition. It's more so just like breaking their board and out-advantaging them from there. It's just that it's kind of one of those, if you see Ibly, you see Ibly. I might end up putting it back into the deck, put Signet Mining back into the deck, and just get rid of these because these didn't really feel super necessary. I didn't really ever feel like I was struggling to find a ritual spell or like the ritual monster or anything like that because so much of the engine just like dumps, you know, heralds into the grave. So you just kind of search it very, very consistently. As is tradition, I'll go ahead and just do a test hand real quick. Okay, actually, let me go ahead and like zoom out. There we go. Yeah, zoom out a bit. Zoom out. Let me be careful. Oh no. Let me be careful because these are new. I did re-sleeve this for the video. So if you've ever re-sleeved stuff, you know that like new sleeves are like super slippery. And if you saw my community post, you know what happened and why this video is coming out like a week later. But yeah. Give it a good pile shuffle, then give it a good little, yeah. It feels so much better to like shuffle with new sleeves though. Right, and then we'll go ahead and give it a good cut. And then let's see what five. Now, Blue Eyes White Dragon don't be in my hand, please. Okay, Ibly, Book, Chaos Max, Change of Heart, Chaos Form. We need like a Nadir. Yeah, we need like a Nadir. Bingo. Well, actually, no, that works out. That works out. This hand wins the game. This hand wins the game because we have 2 board breakers to force out their interruption. Right? We force out their interruptions with these. Right? Then we go normal Ibly. Link it off. Where are you? We're trying to kill them. So, like, let's say they have, like, a back row, too, right? You want to make Lingaribo so that, you know, that it turns off their back row. It turns it off. You give them the Ibly. Then we're going to bingo. We're going to bingo. And we're going to reveal... you know what? Why not? Just for funnies. Just for the funnies. I'm going to reveal Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon, Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. It does not actually matter. It doesn't actually matter which one they end up picking because all 3 of these monsters are level 8. So we'll just take the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Then we're going to go ahead and Chaos Form. We're going to tribute the Blue Eyes. We're going to special Chaos Max, and we're going to punch the Ibly for game. So that was one of those hands where it's just like, okay, they died immediately. And the reality is that's like, you know, one of the benefits of the deck is that sometimes they just die immediately. Sometimes they do just die immediately. All right. Yeah. Ugh. This is a weird hand. This is a very weird hand. Well, if they got the Baron, you would Nadir get it negated. Storm away the back row. Nadir. Alright, I will simply draw into the Ibli. I will simply draw into it. I'm going to send Garura. We're going to search for Ecclesia. Yeah, search for Ecclesia. Alright. And then off of Garura, we're going to go ahead and draw a card. Let's see what we get. Shoot. That's kind of unfortunate. We drew Maximus. This isn't the end of the world, though. Because now when we special Ecclesia, we're going to go ahead and Ecclesia, instead of searching Maximus like we would have, we're going to search Floor. Going to search for Floor. Right? Well, I guess since, you know, this is actually beneficial because this is one of those hands where we're not going to be able to one-punch them. Right? Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to special the Maximus by banishing the Garura. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to Maximus. And we're going to send Herald and a Farragut. Right? Then we're going to go 112. Actually, I don't actually need to see any ritual pieces. So I guess potentially you could send like Entis, like if you needed to like break the board further. But usually I'll do, you know, Herald Farragut. So because I already have ritual pieces, I'll go 1-2. Usually it's the other way around because I want to draw, see what I draw, and then search based off what I draw. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, actually, I can summon both Chaos Maxes. So we're going to search Advanced Ritual Art. And then... I guess we're just going to draw them. Unless we draw Ibli, we're probably going to put back what we draw. So we draw, and it's Droplet. Well, we've already broken the board, so we don't need it. Then we're going to go Advanced Ritual Art. We're going to send the Blue Eyes White Dragon to the grave. Alright. We're going to send Blue Eyes White Dragon to the grave. And we're going to summon a Chaos Max. Then we're going to activate Chaos Form. We're going to banish this Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're going to summon another Chaos Max. And then, you know, we have Floor. This is how much damage? So 3k, 4k. So 7k, 11k, 13, 15,000 damage. This is 15,000 damage. So even though we didn't see the Ibli, they still die. And that's, you know, part of the big reason why, you know, I'm not really focusing too much on the Ibli. Because a lot of the time, you can just kill them anyway. Yep. Oh, also, my plot armor was strong this weekend. There were actually a couple of duels. There were two matches in particular where their turn one setup was like unbeatable for me. But then like I was about to scoop game one, and then I was like, well, let's see if we draw the out, and then I would draw the out. So like the first one was against Pure Dogmatica, and they secret villaged me. Right? And this is a ritual deck, and I need spells to play the game. And Lightning Storm is a spell, but then I drew Pank for turn, and I was like, oh, I guess we're still good. And then the other time was against Scareclaw, right? They had the Scareclaw Link 3, and I was about to scoop, and I was just like, well, let's see what we draw for turn, and I drew Floor. Change of Heart, Candle. See, this is unfortunate. Sometimes you do draw the one Candle. But the benefit of the Farragut, if you draw like if you draw the Blue Eyes White Dragon, the Advanced Ritual Art gets turned off. And if you draw the Candle, the Incantation get turned off. But that's fine because Farragut can just put it back in the deck. Change of Heart, Candle, Pot of Desires, Bingo, Nadir, and what's the sixth card? Tactics. This hand is fine, actually. Okay, so what we're going to do, right, is we're gonna change of heart to force out the interruption first, right? And if they do anything, we have tactics. We're gonna hold this for now. Go ahead and bingo. Gonna bingo, and I don't have any of them, I don't think. Okay, yeah, I don't have any of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the Chaos Max. All right, I'm gonna get Chaos Max. Now, I can't activate the Candle because I'm not playing any other incantations that I can summon off of its effect, which is why we're getting the Chaos Max and not Light Chaos Form. Then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna Nadir, right? We're gonna send oh wow, look at that. Look at that. You see them all stuck together? We're gonna send Garura, we're gonna get Ecclesia. Look at that glide. Right, get Ecclesia. I'm gonna go ahead and actually send the Garura now. Right. Well, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and send the Farigite first. Right, send the Farigite. And effective Farigite, we're gonna draw one. Ooh, we drew a floor. We're gonna bottom the Candle. So now, if we see the incantation, it's live again, right? Then we're gonna special the Ecclesia. Well, we're gonna normal the Ecclesia because there's no extra deck monster on the board. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe there is. Maybe your opponent has one. In which case, you special the Ecclesia. And we're gonna go ahead and search for Maximus because I think we drew floor. Yeah, we drew floor. So we search Maximus. Right. And then I'm gonna go ahead and special the Maximus by banishing the Farigite. Maximus effect. Yeah, Maximus effect. We'll send Herald Garura. Now this is a scenario where I'm going to do draw then search, right? So I'll go Chainlink 1 Herald, Chainlink 2 Garura. So we're going to draw a card. We'll do another tactics. It's a little mid. Then we're going to search. I'm going to get Advanced Ritual Art. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and Advance Ritual Art and send our Blue Eyes White Dragon from deck to grave. All right. We're going to go ahead and now, because we've basically gotten everything out of the deck now, we're going to go ahead and activate this here, Pot of Desires. Going to banish 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we banished 10. We're going to draw 2. Chaos Max and a Lightning Storm. The Chaos Max is nice. The Lightning Storm doesn't do anything. What do we banish? All 3 Chaos Form. That's kind of cringe. But it's fine because, you know, we already have Chaos Max on board. Chaos Max is already on board. We can special the Floor. Tactics will take one of their monsters or whatever, right? And then this is lethal. All right. Now, obviously, the plays change based on like how you do things, but ultimately, that's the gist of the deck. This has been Darkstalarian from Haltessiagaming. I've got very useful links in the description. Please check out my description, donation link in the description, my contact info in the description, all the good stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Oh, that's the wrong button.